Delta Force dropped some big news as far as controller support, solo queue, and a Killcam feature. Let's get into it. So one of the first questions they asked was talking about how to get a key for the game. And the reason why the game wasn't widespread is because they didn't have some of the servers in certain regions. The game's going to be available again on Steam's Next Fest, October 14th through the 21st. We're going to be able to play the game then, so it's not too much longer, 2 weeks or so from this video releasing, that we're going to be able to play it again. The next question they asked was when is the actual game releasing? Now, I was hoping that they would just go ahead and release it with the Steam's Next Fest in October, but it doesn't seem to be that way. They said they're still aiming for Q4 of 2024, and then with the mobile and console versions coming in at Q1 of 2025. One of my biggest gripes with this game was talking about removing AI, and this says, are you planning to remove the AI in Havoc Warfare? This is one of the most annoying things ever, is loading in, and then you have AI teammates where you're actually fighting AI operators. It's one of the most annoying things ever, and they said, and they explained in the video, they said it was due to low player numbers. They wanted to make the matchmaking process more smooth, so what they did is they added those AI bots in there to be able to have short queue times. I don't know about anybody else watching this video, but I will gladly wait an extra 35-minute, whatever it may be, to make sure that I do not play against AI. It is one of the most annoying things to play against. And then also, I even loaded into the games, and I had AI teammates myself. They haven't said 100% if they're going to get rid of it completely, but I really, really hope that they do, because it's extremely annoying to have not only you fight AI, but you also have AI teammates. Now, another thing they addressed was controller support. It says, will controller functionality be available in early access PC launch? The answer to that question is no. Now, you can use a controller on PC. There are some tutorials out there on YouTube that talk about this, but it's kind of rough because it's obviously not integrated by the devs themselves. This is going to be developed by the devs along with the console version of the game. So when the console version of the game releases, that's when we're going to have full controller support with PC itself. So it's kind of a bummer to wait if you are a controller player on PC. At least it is coming, and then we know exactly, I guess, the time frame of when it is coming. When will you add achievements on Steam for the official release? So it's not coming right at early access, but they said the next major update after early access, they will have Steam achievements for all those people that like to 100% games. It is coming, just not right when early access is released. Will there be a story mode? Now, they've given sneak peeks about how they're going to have a campaign, and that's the only thing I think you're going to have to pay for is the campaign itself. The campaign will be introduced in Q1 of 2025. So we have a little bit before that actually happens. But for people that like to, step away from PvP and sweating and all that stuff and just like to enjoy in story and immerse themselves, is coming in Q1 of 2025. Will there be any kind of night raids in the extraction mode with night vision as such? Now, the way they worded it, they already have been planning this. So they already are ahead of the ball as far as this goes. They said it will come in the first half of 2025. And it'll be a season dedicated to like shadows and darkness thing. Now, the way they worded it is the version will provide night vision, and then, obviously it'll make it night and different elements part of the game. So what I assume that would mean is that when you go into these night raids, you are just given night vision. You don't have to go out and spend money to go play night raids and stuff like that. You'll simply load into this night mode, or if it's a season, maybe the whole season's dedicated to being a night, and they will just provide you with them. So you don't have to sit there and spend, $750,000 million, whatever dollars it is, buy night vision, but they will provide it to you to be able to use throughout the game. One of the biggest concerns is what's the plan for anti-cheat at launch. Now, they talked about how they're just going to initially strengthen their anti-cheat. Obviously, everybody's going to say that. They're going to make it more potent, apparently. And they talked about how they're going to have anti-cheat functionality against DMA hardware cheats. So they'll also have features, which is a big one. If you've ever played Tarkov and you see somebody selling like 50 lab keys, they're going to be able to track and address illegal games made by players who are exploiting things. So what to me that means, if you see somebody on the market and they're selling like these high tier items and they have like 20 to 30 of them and they're just selling them over and over and over again, hopefully they'll be able to like capitalize on that and then be able to drop the ban hammer on these people and get them out of there. Because I saw it in Tarkov a lot. You'd see somebody selling so many different things and they're like level like 12 or something, or whatever it is. Hopefully if people try to do this and they try to sell stuff, they'll be given the ban hammer and get out of the game. That is a huge relief to see, because it's so obvious to players, and a lot of developers don't see that side. But if they have something to track somebody doing certain things, should help us out with cheaters. Do you plan to implement a kill cam? That would help us identify cheaters. I 100% agree it would help identify cheaters. They said they're already 70% done when they had this Q&A about 2 weeks ago when they talked about it. And they said it's 100% coming later this year. I just hope they implement it the correct way. You have a Killcam and ABI, and it kind of ruins it because it only gives you 40 seconds after you personally die. And then you can watch your Killcam and exit the raid. What they need to do, in my opinion, especially with an extraction mode, is they need to have it to where they show you a kill cam after your whole squad has died or they all have extracted. Because if you were in a sniper or just whatever position you may be, you don't want somebody looking at a kill cam and then be like, oh, he's over there or they're over there, whatever it may be. They need to implement it to where it's after the raid is over, and I hope they do that because it just kind of ruins the extraction mode, at least, to be able to have a kill cam and then show somebody exactly where they are. Now, as far as the battlefield mode goes, what I call it, Havoc Warfare, you can just show it right after somebody kills you if you want, because it's not that big of a deal because you're just respawning and going back in. As far as the extraction mode, they need to be very, very careful about how they do that, and I hope they do it to where after everyone dies or after your squad extracts. When will new maps release? Now, they plan to release 2 Havoc Warfare maps, the BF mode or Battlefield mode, and 1 Hazard Operations mode, the Q4 later this year. Now, for the Havoc Warfare maps, there'll be an infantry-focused map and then another map, obviously, with vehicles themselves. Now, the Havoc Operations map, there'll be a new map called Brackish. It will include an ancient city area and a modern Havoc area, or a modern Havoc building, I should say. So that's very cool. We get a new map because it was kind of, as far as extraction mode goes, it was kind of getting boring going over again. And even the BF mode, it was kind of limited on the maps that you could play, so you kind of got the same vibe every single time. So glad to see that they're adding new content, even with the early access. So they talked about the Special Operations Department is quite complex, the black site essentially in the extraction mode. The features like resource gathering, upgrading, and crafting, have you considered simplifying it to some extent? They said that they are going to simplify some things in it, but the key point that I want to mention is that they are significantly reducing the production for all items in the game, and that makes me so happy I want to cry. When I would craft like an AK-12 or like some type of vest to carry stuff, sometimes it would take 72 hours to craft one thing. That gives me zero motivation to even upgrade anything or use it whatsoever. So I'm glad to hear that they're significantly reducing the time to craft items. Hopefully the smaller items you can just get in a couple raids. And then for the bigger stuff, I don't know, nobody knows exactly what significantly means, but I would assume that they're going to make it to where it's more people want to use it and want to upgrade and want to use that hideout because it's such a great progression tool with the game. Last but not least, will you cater to the experience of solo players? Now, during the Q4 early access, they have plans to introduce some solo queuing options and support solo play on various maps. Now, this doesn't clearly say yes, solo queue will be available, or no, it will not. It just says some options. So I don't know if that means only on certain maps you're able to solo queue and other ones or not. So I would imagine maybe the bigger maps, maybe the high stake maps you are not, and maybe the lower tier maps you can solo queue. Obviously, I have no idea. I'm just taking a shot in the dark here. But anyway, guys, that's all I really have for you. And I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm Jones, and I'm out. Peace.